Has the alcohol worked yet, or do you still wake up the next day with the same pain that needs to be swept under the rug even harder? Did the drink turn you into that better version of yourself yet, or does your personality still require that liquid confidence every time just to come alive? I suppose if drinking is your source of fun, a good time is defined by escaping yourself, even if just a little bit. And it doesn't seem that gratifying to me. You know, if you wanted to feel good without the poison, you definitely can, and a lot of people do it. But there's a heavy pressure of normalcy to break through.
Hello and welcome to episode 20 of the Best of Me podcast, a small little community on the interwebs where we take a look at how we can love ourselves more, how we can respect ourselves more through reevaluating our relationships with vices such as alcohol, drugs, sex, relationships, and a myriad of other things like gambling as well. My name is Samora Mangesi, and I am coming up on a year of being sober. And it's always so lovely when I meet other people who are on this journey, who are approaching that milestone as well. Recently, I did an interview at Metro FM, and I got to meet Rephethile, and she's also on this journey, approaching 1 year.
Dude, like I keep counting days, like you have absolutely no idea. I'm even feeling like I'm not quite sure if I'm going to be emotional. Am I going to be celebratory? Am I going to like jump over a mountain? Because Samora, I feel like it's an achievement.
It is a massive achievement. And you know, one of the things I was saying to you is that a lot of other people will say, why must you, clap hands for a fish for swimming?
Yeah.
Because essentially when we look at alcohol, it is indeed a poison, right? But we need to give you your flowers. We need to encourage other people out there to show them that it is indeed possible. And you don't become a weirdo just because you've stopped drinking.
Dude, like every time I go into a social space, people are like, no, you're lying. You know, it's just a phase. You must just tell us when you're going to get out of it.
Yeah.
And my feelings are, how am I getting out of it? Because I decided to take on this journey. And I just want to be honest to myself. And I feel like the past 200 or actually 300 and something days, I've managed to shine. You know, dude, like Samora, like I wake up feeling so refreshed.
Yes.
Like I believe so much, like in another day, like to do amazing things, to function, to spend time with my family, to do everything that, you know, fulfills me. And it's been a beautiful, beautiful time.
So the first question on the show that I ask everybody, you and I'm sure you know this, you go to a bar and the barman asks you, what is your poison? Essentially asking you what you would like to drink. So I'm going to pose that question to you now. What's your poison?
I think my poison is nothing that has to do with a beverage.
Okay.
Sometimes when I relate and that question, seeing all some of your episodes, let's
start with, what would you like to drink? What's your poison?
Oh, okay. Orange juice.
Orange juice. Okay.
It's so confusing.
There we go. It's the magic of television.
Yeah. Cutting you.
Sharp. All right. So, Rephethile.
Yes.
We understand that when you are asked, no matter what's your poison, the most natural thing is to answer with a drinks order. But in the context of this show, we take a look at what poison is inherently, and the fact that it is something that you ingest and then it eats you up from the inside. That can be things that we are going through, things that worry us, societal issues, familial issues, many things. So with that said, I want to pose that question to you again. What's your poison?
I think when I understand you properly is something that sometimes when somebody asks, what is your poison? It could either be something positive or it could be something negative.
Okay.
My poison is something I've been dealing with. And when I tell people, they look at me and say, you are lying. I've been challenged, by disorders that I haven't really been able to explain. And I'm a mental health patient.
Yeah.
And I can honestly, confidently say I am proud to live with bipolar disorder type 2, generalized anxiety disorder, and dysthymia. And I've realized that it doesn't define me.
You mentioned that you struggle to explain them. First of all, who are you explaining them to? And number 2, why do you feel the need to explain them?
To be quite honest, I see like society, different communities, but I feel like I have to explain to my family.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
They've seen me struggle from a tender age.
Yeah.
From childhood. I believe I was a very destructive child. Probably my sister can, stand up and say, yes, she's right. I used to be very different, like bullish. I used to be very angry, and it would cause like a drift between myself and my mom.
Yeah.
And I always tell people now that you might see me now like posting about my mom, appreciating her in social spaces, but it was a very difficult time.
Yeah.
And I really, really realized that I needed to be a better person. And getting diagnosed at age 20, at a very tender age. And sometimes I understand some people get diagnosed at like a very early age, like 6, 7, or maybe let's just be practical, 10 years, 11. So I feel like I need to be honest to my family, because they are the people that will have to walk this journey with me.
What would you say was the hindrance? Other people are able to get diagnosed at half the age that you were when you got diagnosed. What was the hindrance? What stopped you from getting diagnosed for a full 20 years?
To be quite honest, lack of education in the Black community. And so much, literally so much happened when I was a child.
Yeah.
And they overlooked it. They believed that no, she's just been a different child. She's got personality issues. She's just difficult. But I would honestly say that the trauma of having to deal with daily abuse, and I feel like they thought that the activities that were happening in the household were they were like an expression that I had to deal with. Like, I know she's probably acting up because there's certain things that are happening in the household, but forgetting that this could be a medical issue.
We all grow up in different households. Our households are very different. Our households have different rules, different ways of engaging. And then, of course, we have different laws that have come to pass recently, right? Where now we're able to look back on certain things and say, maybe that was abuse.
Yeah.
However, your family might look at it in a different way and say, Tina, we're just disciplining you. Yeah. I don't know what kind of abuse you speak of, and I'm not sure if you're willing to go into that.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like people tend to be in abusive spaces.
Yeah.
Like now the whole GBV thing that is exposed in South Africa, we only realizing now that so many people stay in toxic relationships.
Yes.
To a point where the only way, Samora, the only way now, how it's happening in this world, it's leaving that toxic relationship in a casket.
Yes.
And it's so sad, So I've been in a space where I thought my mom would live in a casket. But because we believe so much in the power of God.
Yeah.
Some people can say, God does exist. God doesn't exist. And that's the reason why, because the abuse was so intense that it divided the siblings.
Okay.
and my mom was constantly somebody who believed that things could change. She believed that the situation in the house could be better. And she tried to be very strong for us as kids. But it's certain things like it's never spoken about.
Yeah.
Especially in Black communities, in Black families. When abuse happens between our parents, it's like, no, we experience it, but we're not going to ask questions. But the thing is with me, I was a very curious child.
Yes.
Even in my adulthood, like I could ask random things. So I tried to understand what caused the abuse. How is my mom dealing with it? Why is the abuser the one who has to win, the fight? Like, I'm powerful. This happens and I'm okay. I'm going to hurt her. But, it's like unspoken things. I think even now, with the relationship between my mom and I, she is confidently coming out to say, I was hurt.
Yes. And how did your mom get out of that situation, number one? And then maybe also take us through bridging that divide with the siblings. Because, if it's going to split the children down the middle, that is something that can literally be carried through for the rest of your lives.
Yeah.
In terms of how you interact with your siblings. So maybe first take us through how your mom managed to get out of that.
I feel like sometimes when you speak about these things, the person who's hurting the next person will probably be like, why did you expose me? Why did you speak about me?
If you don't want things to be spoken about, don't do them. I always say that.
Yeah.
I always say, if you, and also the unfortunate thing that happens all the time is that we will give our hearts to people.
Yeah.
And the only responsibility that they have is to protect our hearts and protect our beings.
Exactly.
And when they fail to do that, they have this expectation of us that we will protect their reputations.
Yeah.
And it is so unfortunate that when you become sober, you not only hold yourself accountable, but you hold the people around you accountable as well.
Yeah.
And you will always go against the grain, and you will speak the truth.
Yeah.
So unless through speaking about it, you will be in any kind of physical harm, I say you go and sing like a bird.
Funny enough, I think sometimes, I believe my siblings think I have opinions. I'm very straightforward. Sometimes maybe they even think I'm just disrespectful. But I fight for honesty.
Yes.
I fight for fairness. Like, I don't know how many people I have lost in this 35 years, big age of mine. I will tell you the truth, not to hurt you, but to build you.
Yes.
And for you to take accountability. And the funny thing is, the people who hurt other people, they feel like they are being attacked, Like, so my mom just realized that I need to live for my kids.
Yes.
I need to make decisions that my kids don't repeat in their adulthood. She realized that she has to be an example.
Yeah.
She had to show us that you can't accept mistreatment. You need to overlook what society has taught us about Musadi wa khotlella. I do not believe in that statement. I'm sorry. If the pots burn in the kitchen or there is so much heat, run away.
Yeah.
Step out, get out of there. And I think when she took that decision, she was like, I think she felt like she was breaking a bond, a relationship between father and daughters. But for me, I'm sorry, I always say it was painful because I believe there was so much chaos to understand what was happening. 1 minute, this person is here, The next minute, this person lives somewhere, and I felt like we finally have freedom.
This person, is that your dad?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's really sad that I had to turn this age and I had to suffer the consequences of his actions.
What do you mean by that?
I got diagnosed with mental health. And sometimes every time I have to do public speaking like I used to, or do talking or speaking engagements, I don't say mental health is caused by your current experiences, but it is filtered through childhood traumas. But professionals, when I went through that before getting diagnosed, they explained mental health also. And I think it's something that people are not talking about to educate the masses. I read about mental health so much, and my psychiatrist educated me and say, yes, there's environmental factors,
yes,
but I had chemical imbalances.
And I can imagine that having the chemical imbalance and then environmental factors on top of that just exacerbates the entire thing.
It does. It just causes so much chaos in the brain. You have to deal with something you don't see, but you are told about it. I can't go into my brain and be like, oh, chemicals, be balanced today. Chemicals, you are imbalanced, but you can't see it. And then you have to deal with situations at home, in the community, in toxic friendships, in absolutely toxic romantic relationships, and not forgetting toxic workplaces.
Oh, absolutely.
Toxic workplaces.
So tell me about the relationship with your dad now.
I'm sorry, there is no relationship.
Okay. Do your siblings still have a relationship?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
My sister doesn't live with us.
Okay.
So she lives somewhere else. I live in the township not far from my mom to make sure she's okay.
Yeah.
But my sister, and I can confidently, proudly say, oh man, that woman, what an amazing woman.
Mm-hmm.
I believe she's got the ability to forgive.
Okay.
But mask at the same time.
Okay.
You don't know what she's feeling, So, the relationship is dead. And it's because of a situation that happened. Samora, I'm one out of 10 people that will hold you accountable. Whether something happened 15 years ago, 20 years ago, 2 days, a few hours, I will remind you how you've hurt me.
Yes. I'm
so in tune with my emotions to a point where everything that is hurtful makes me cry. So I decided to confront him. Even though I did it over text, yes, some people would be like, you were a coward. You could have called him. You could have sat down with him. But I texted him. Probably if you put that text on paper, it's probably 2 pages. I told him that you have hurt me. You hurt my mom. You cancelled. Yeah. You've hurt me. Absolutely hurt me. So I would say my sister is an epitome of a superwoman. Love that girl. 2 bits. But she's got that spirit of let's forgive and move on so that we can have internal peace.
Okay.
I don't have a relationship with my dad. I sent him the text. He couldn't take accountability. He just decided to say, okay, live your best life. I will live my life. That is not accountability. And sometimes I feel like I also don't take accountability because of generational behavior.
Yeah.
I struggled to take accountability because I saw him unable to take accountability. So they do say that you feed off something you see around you. behaviors, they link to either your sister, your mother, your dad, because you saw them doing the same thing. So I don't have a relationship. And this year I'm turning 35. When you open a new leaf, even though sometimes I'm like, I'm not youth. But for me, it's a celebration of life. It's a celebration of being able to tell people who have hurt me that I am done. Like, I don't want to live in the shadows of somebody who would hurt somebody they claimed to love.
Did your dad drink?
Sure. Samora. He had a friend who owned a tavern. And that friend, whenever I see him, I will pray for him and remind him that you almost killed my mom. You came with a gun in her house. If my brother wasn't there, I don't know what could have happened. We were even taken away that specific day.
Yeah.
So whatever happens. So I would say, I don't know. When I hear my mom speaking, yes, he used to sleep at the lawn outside after a drinking night with his buddies who were young. My dad is much younger, not too young, like 40, and my mom is like 60. But he behaved like a young boy.
Okay.
Yeah, drinking was his thing. And it was normalized. Like, you could see something, a bottle of something at home. He would go and come back when he pleases, like somebody who's still dating and not somebody who is married. And I think that's where I learned. I'm not going to say my sister learned because she doesn't drink.
Yes.
If she does, it's like one can and she's done. I learned from that. And I saw the behavior being, it's okay. It is normal in society to drink, to have a drink. You are in a social space, like, you will be liked. You will have more friends. You will be the party, the animal party. If you have like on social media, people like, oh, cheers with a glass of champagne. It's like, it's become like such a thing. Like, you are cool when you're going on holiday and you have a glass of champagne. It's like the best thing right now in this world, So he drank.
And as a child, this whole thing about fathers and daughters and daddy's girls and stuff like that. How was your relationship with your dad?
I can't remember.
Okay.
I can't remember. Like, I remember the times where, as a kid, you get Christmas clothes and you go to your favorite mall. My mom's favorite mall was like Southgate. we knew we're like today. Southgate. Oh, we're going to Foschini or Woolworths, and he would be there just to buy the clothes. But something positive. He used to make us the best lunchbox that I can celebrate him for. Samora, we used to go to school, like, they would be like CVs, 5 rand. We couldn't afford 5 rand at all. He would be there going out, partying with whoever, maybe not partying, but maybe in that space be like intoxicated or take whatever. But I don't know if he was intoxicated, but I know he was drinking. We couldn't afford CVC, a mere 1 rand, 2 rand, 3 rand, 4 rand, 5 rand. Because my mom was a single mother who had to ensure that we've got clothes, we've got food, we've got running water, we've got electricity, we've got a uniform, and we do extramural activities. He wouldn't care.
The reason I ask about your relationship with your dad as a child is that sometimes we emulate a behavior that we are pining for this either relationship with, or that we are pining for. Maybe if I do this thing that they do, they will accept me, and then they will become better, and they'll take a responsibility of Ikaya and but I want us to move forward now. First of all, how many kids are you in your family?
There's 2. My older brother, my younger brother to my older brother. The third born is my sister, and me.
So there's 4 of you.
And then my dad has other kids.
Okay, but in the household there were 4.
There were 4, but unfortunately there wasn't 4. My cousins came to live with us.
Okay.
Got you. This one would come this year, the other one would come, which was a way of my mom assisting the sister. Not really assisting because the sister passed on at a very, not tender age, but maybe 30. Yeah. So my mom had to take in my cousins, my nieces, and she played a role of a mother.
Okay. And you mentioned the relationship with your siblings. However, you only mentioned your sister.
Oh, I love that girl.
When you spoke about the relationship with your siblings. What's the relationship with your brothers like?
Oh, they're probably going to kill me. Oh, my older brother, oh man, that man he's misunderstood.
Okay.
Very misunderstood. But when he's sober, he is the most calm human being. He would rather sit, watch TV, and go to bed and sleep. It's a beautiful relationship.
Okay.
But I felt like I mattered to him because I would sponsor. I would sponsor and feed on the behavior. I would feed on the addiction. I would be like, I'm coming. Should I buy you? He would call, Kupon Regele. I'd buy. Like, I wouldn't even ask questions.
Yeah.
But remembering that people like to feed on other people's addiction.
Yes.
But I didn't feel like I was feeding on his addiction. I felt like I was being a present sister. I felt like I was being a supportive sister who can, show them that I'm here for you. We didn't grow up as fancy, or like sometimes we couldn't afford certain things. But now I'm here. I can do it for you. I can buy you, But now, the older I'm getting and now that I'm sober, a lot of people are drifting away.
Okay.
A lot of people are deciding to go their way and have their own perspective about the new me. I don't know how they feel, but I haven't really spent much time. But I would say we really had a good relationship. My second brother, he gives me I don't want to judge his character, but I'd rather say his personality. He has this thing that I am better than all of you.
So you feel like he sees himself as better than everybody else?
No. We can see it.
Okay.
In his actions, in how he's drifted away from the family and lives his own life in the small little world that we can fit in it, because he's closed everybody out. And I don't have a relationship with him like I did with my dad. I was straightforward with him and I told him, what you doing to whoever, my mom, it's unacceptable. I don't filter anything. I will hold you accountable. And I think him realizing that I'm not that Rephethile who was 10 years old. I am now a fully grown woman who knows how to make decisions for inner peace, but to also remind the next person that your actions have consequences. And you don't see that you have drifted from the family and you believe that you are better, but we look at you and say, you are actually harmed. You are dealing with past traumas that have happened when we were kids. And it's manifesting in your decisions as an adult. So I would love to have a relationship with him because he was my best friend when I was a kid. But he has proved himself to be absolutely somebody I thought I knew, but I don't know him.
Okay. So, I mean, I love the fact that you kind of understand that the traumas that you guys went through, because we can either trauma bond and really come together because of the traumas that we've gone through, or sometimes you can want to literally distance yourself from people who remind you of those things. And I think it's very important in the interactions with him specifically to have that understanding and that grace and that kindness. But of course, you are absolutely right in holding them accountable, I think, because there's nobody who's going to understand the things that you've gone through more than someone who has gone through them with you. And the challenges that you might have at an older age because of the things you went through. You know, yes, you'll meet someone, you will fall in love, but and they'll try to understand.
Oh, don't talk about falling in love, Samora. When I was 21, turning 21, when I was in varsity, I met somebody who I thought was forever. Now going on wheelchairs, going into a home together, but it was chaotic. I was in that relationship. I was my dad. As much as I can say, I'm trying to filter it and try to protect myself and act as holy, but I was my dad. It was so scary to look at myself in the mirror and realize that I'm turning into something that I didn't like. And he suffered in not my hands, like physically, like killing, but he suffered in my struggles with childhood trauma. And we met at a time where I always touch on mental health because it has shaped some parts of me. And I thought I loved him, but I feel like it was a crutch.
Yeah.
On I'm accepted, and I can proudly say I never really was attracted to men. Sadly. And I feel like that's the point where I felt like I emotionally abused him because I was my dad, number one. I would push whatever, and
what, to get a reaction?
Yes, to provoke, because I'm holding on this childhood trauma that is now mixed with chemical imbalances, the new diagnosis, and shame. Like, even when the relationship ended, I knew that the day I met him, I knew that this is not for me.
Yeah.
And at some point, he even said, dude, you are not into men. You are absolutely not into men. And it's so sad how we believe that this relationship would end in kids, this and that. I had to listen to him and find my honest sexuality and say, this is who I am. So yeah, he suffered so much and it became so toxic. But the nice thing, and I enjoyed, he never judged me for my mental health disorders. That's why I'm saying about love, because I thought I knew love with him, but for the fact that I could hurt him, I don't think there was love. When you're mentioning that you love, and I was 21 and I was so excited by the idea of being accepted. Love this, I'm in love. But I didn't know anything about love. But the beauty is I managed to come out of the whole thing that people call being shame of falling in a space where I don't like men. But I became honest. As much as I became honest about my issues, my internal issues, my psychological issues, my childhood trauma. And it's unfortunate he was in my life at a point where everything was just mixed up. And I had to figure out myself. And when the relationship ended, it was like, okay, happiness. Even though it wasn't happiness, it was a challenge and a struggle, because he also fell into other things that were very toxic, very life-changing, So when you mention love,
It's so, yes, it's funny because as you were talking about becoming your dad in that relationship, I'm seeing a lot of myself in that. And when I say I see a lot of myself in that, not just maybe through the relationship with my own dad, but maybe some of my earlier relationships, right? My dad was a semi-present parent. And I always pined for someone who would be there, right? And I think I looked for that in some of my relationships. But I also looked for it from people who were 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Yeah.
And I realized that I was always going to be in a pattern of seeking out abantu who were far removed. And I would always feel like I need to make them choose me.
Oh, that is deep.
And I had to sit with that and be like, why is it that I always seek out abantu who are not like, oh my gosh, completely enamored with me? You know, abane element of being aloof, abane element of being arrogant, that will breadcrumb you and then remove the lendog as well. So yeah, and I've had to work on it a lot. I've really had to work on it. And so as you were talking, I was just thinking about that, and I'm like, in some instances, in trying to correct that now, I find that I am being that person who is going to be very distant, who is going to be very aloof, who is good. And I mean, I try my best not to breadcrumb people, but I sit and I'm just like, oh no, I don't like how I'm moving. I don't like how I'm moving. And as a result, I've just kind of abstained from relationships for the longest time. So yeah, but anyway, I want to get to your first drink.
Yeah, sure. My first drink, I think I was with my childhood friends.
Okay.
Because, you know, in life, you meet people from a tender age, you grow up, you don't really discuss your dreams. You are still young. Your daily thing is to wake up, bath, eat, go to school, come back, play, and all of that. But when we turned a certain age, we decided, Uguti, I think I want to try this, you know? And, you know, we want to try this. We're trying to be like big people. And we drank, you know.
What did you drink?
I drank everything, Samora. I drank.
All soap makes foam.
Like, you can ask me about a beverage. I can be like, whew, it tastes like this. Whew, it does this. You know, I've to a point where even right now in my adulthood, a year ago, I was reminded that, you drink this. Tomorrow you're buying this. The next day it's this. I think I got to a point where alcohol wasn't doing much to me. You know? So when we started drinking, we wanted to be bana ba kajeko, you know, be like very, very like fit in and, you know, do things that other kids are doing, other teenagers are doing. And maybe we believe that the feeling of intoxication was the thing.
Yeah.
You know, because I feel like in a tender age, like when you're 16, 17, you know, 18, you just do things so that you can be accepted by your peers. You know, and I, for one, I was exposed to so many things when I was in high school. I went to an art school where people they were just loud. They were just, this is me. Accept me for who I am. So there was a lot of like, people engaging in smoking weed, going to parties. Some kids are...
Which art school did you go to?
National School of the Arts.
Okay.
So,
I mean...
and
the reason why I'm laughing is because and not to speak badly about art schools or anything, but specifically this one. But I've had previous guests who sat here and who have shared the same sentiments. And I had wanted to go to NSA so bad when I was in high school, and my mom was like, "Yet you're not going to go and stay in Johannesburg at an art school." And I look at it and I just look at how my life turned out and the trajectory in terms of how I ended up drinking and all of that behavior. I think if I was in that environment, I don't think I would have been able to police myself, and I don't know where I would have ended up.
The thing is, I went in grade 9, so I was not exposed to grade 8 and accepting and understanding the environment. So thanks to my mom, she believed in my dreams. Even as disadvantaged we were, she made it possible. I jumped in grade 9, had to fit in, had to quickly make friends, and shout out to Mona Munyani for holding me down, for our friend who passed away in Jabulo. Those two held me down in grade 9. You come from the township, you are not sure of your English.
Yes.
You are in class, they say read. You're like, I don't know if my English sounds like theirs, So I was exposed to all those things. Like you had a field, guys were smoking weed, people were going partying, this and that. People were bunking, sitting in dance rooms, in practice rooms. It was so difficult. But when I got to grade 11, 12, I felt myself. I was so confident. I was like, I fit in. I am here. Started engaging in smoking weed, hung out with guys in the hood that were just like, yeah, good. Come through after school, get off the taxi, meet us here, let us smoke a joint, And it was so difficult. It was so difficult. And I felt like that's where the drinking started.
Okay.
Like now I'm taking the things from school. Now I'm bringing them to my childhood friends. Like, let's go, And yeah.
Do you know Sarita? Who? Do you know Storm?
Exactly. Blue or get red. We used to swim in those drinks. And even though people were like, Storms are sharp, you still go in there and you want to test. You want to be like going in. And Samora, the funny thing, I'm sure my mom will be like, we used to take like, a paper of when you roll a joint. Rizla. We would put dried leaves.
Oh, of course.
To smoke.
At least do you mean dried leaves, rooibos tea?
Yeah.
There's so many different things.
So that's where the behavior started. And from there I was like, hurrying, let's go. This is the life I'm choosing. And I had this one friend, we used to party. I used to jump the gate, Samora, me. Jump the gate. And my mom would like be so angry, but also terrified at the same time that my child is going to church, but during the night, she's jumping gates, And I realized that, alcohol will make you do things that you don't understand. Like, the partying, Samora, it was exhausting. But because I enjoyed that feeling of being intoxicated, being able to have conversations with people in social spaces, I thought I was being myself, but I was pushed by intoxication and the comfort of, hi, I'm having a drink, I'm going to party. And sitting here right now, 2026, I'm looking at my behavior and I'm questioning the person I was.
That happens because you look at it and you're just like, was that really me?
Me?
Was that really my life? Like, how did I allow myself to do that? And going back to this thing that I was mentioning about relationships, I always say that I've wasted so much time work-wise, over the last 13, 14 years. And it's so unfortunate for anybody who tries to date me now. Because, and game like I do need to go and get checked out because I hyper focus. So when I hyper focus on something, everything else falls away.
Yeah.
And my focus right now is making up that time that I wasted over the last 13 years when I was drinking, instead of working the way that I should have been, instead of building the way that I should have been. And and right now it's so unfortunate because my primary focuses are my work and my family. I've decentralized relationshiping. I've decentralized friendships. They are nice to have, but in my drinking, I focused so much on them.
Oh, Samora.
That now I look at it and I say, this is not important. I need to focus on the things that are really important to me right now and make up for that time. So it's going home more often, and also just really giving myself 100% to my work.
Let me tell you about when you're saying that right now you decided, you chose yourself.
Yeah.
You held yourself accountable of how you were in the past.
Yes.
And realized that, wow, I haven't achieved all the things that I want. And for me, I can erase quickly. I can take myself out of toxic friendships.
Yes.
I took myself out of friendships. Maybe I was toxic.
Yeah.
Maybe I was toxic and I'm willing to take accountability. But right now in my life, the only people that matter, and I will call it in chronological pattern, it's my wife,
yes,
my mom,
yes,
my nephews, my niece, and my siblings, because I would say siblings because I'm putting my sister also in that pedestal.
Yeah.
She might not think she's my focus, but if anything happens to that girl, I would die. So those people have their own different personality. From my wife, I'm learning accountability every day.
Yes.
Even though I don't want to. I don't want to, but she will hold me accountable. And I'm learning so much that even though you are in a relationship, you need to work on self, And my mom, I'm learning that you can have a relationship with your mom.
Right.
Especially at this age where you can't go on a day without calling this woman. And she would send me voice notes and I would get so irritated, like, I don't want to hear your voice. She would call me when I'm in a meeting. I'm like, and I wouldn't call her back. So, and my sister, I'm sending her all these funny TikTok videos. I'm like, I'm the best sister. And she'd laugh. And my nephews, oh God, those kids have brought so much purpose in my life. So much. And I feel like God needs to keep me until I'm gray so I can see the lessons I'm trying to teach them. Even though sometimes I can try not to be strict. I can fail as an aunt. But when it comes to friends, Samora, I leave. I leave and I never come back. Because I feel like, let me tell you, there's a friend in multiple times, in several occasions. That's why I'm saying alcohol is a bad decision. It will make you do things because you are so focused on, I need to be liked. Yeah. I need to be accepted in that circle of drinking buddies.
Yes.
I used to give money. My friend would be like, oh, we don't have food. We don't have this. I'd be like, oh, check your balance. Cling, 2,000. When? Okay. I get it. It was.
Where were you working? I want to go apply for a job.
Freelancing wasn't too bad, even though sometimes it's not stability, but you make it work. Every time that person cries, I'm like, bank app.
Did you ever do that at your own detriment? And I say this because sometimes we overextend ourselves so much in trying to help other people, especially in those kind of relationships that are just codependent and toxic, where you'll be left on the back foot because you are trying to help these other people and probably trying to save face in them. Because remember, Rephethile is mureki, Rephethile is money.
Yeah.
And if they're coming to cry to you, you also can't be the person who was dropping 4,000 Rand this past weekend, but yet you don't have money to help me out so you feel some kind of obligation.
Let me tell you, Samora, with that thing of buying friends, that 2,000 that went out, and you go on those apps and you're like, oh, I was too excited that we're probably gonna go out and have a jolly drink, and now I'm coming back to my senses, and I'm like, 2,000, I couldn't even give my mom that money because I was always running to a bottle store or running to a party to get intoxicated. I wasn't responsible, but I felt like I was overextending myself to people who I wanted to fit in with.
Yes.
It is so dangerous, this whole fitting in thing. It's like you are trying to create a version of yourself that you're not, because you want to be in that space. You want to be liked. You're buying face. You're doing that. And I realized that I don't need friendships.
And it's very important to realize that, we need community, but community doesn't always need to be in the form of friendships, especially friendships in that context.
That's why I'm saying maybe I was toxic. I sit with myself and I question how some friendships ended. And I can take accountability to say, I normally post these TikToks. My wife and my nephews taught me TikTok. I had absolutely no idea what it was. Now I'm posting there. So I used to, guys, I don't even want to cry, Yazi, because the way I was like trying to fit in, Samora, it was so sad.
What do you think was missing, though, that you felt that you had to fit in that much?
I feel like I wanted to live a certain life, and maybe by giving you that money, I wanted to be seen as somebody who is, she can afford. Okay. But a piece of me, I know and I believe that I'm a giver.
Yeah.
I give. I've done community work. Look, call companies, call my people I know. But that is a different kind of giving because it's got purpose of helping. Exactly. You are leading a community and want to see other people having something, even though it's temporary. I know she had juice. I know she has a shoe because I was helping from the bottom of my heart.
Yes.
But yadi chomi. I wanted to be accepted. I wanted to be that girl that is, she can buy us this. Today we're going drinking. We're going, we're going to buy. She's going to buy. But I feel like what was missing. And the thing is, at that point, I had a relapse.
Okay. Not
alcohol relapse, but a mental health relapse that led me back into an institution. And I wasn't now in an institution as a general patient. I was in an institution as a DDU patient.
What is DDU?
DDU is, I can't explain it. That's why sometimes I'm like, I need to go back. But I will tell you, it's a space where drug addicts, alcohol addicts are put in those classes.
Okay.
And you do certain things to work on addiction, to do the steps, and I was pushed there because of this behavior of being moreki, drinking this. But with them, they weren't concerned. As long as we got this from Rephethile, we are happy. Whether she's dealing with mental health issues, she's in an institution for 21 days.
So in this time now, you're are encompassed into this time that you're spending there, because now you're dealing with the mental health, but there's also who identified the I don't want to say addiction, but who then recommended you to be in that program as opposed to just a normal mental health program?
Funny enough, I felt it. I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, this is not the life that your mom wanted for you. She was a single parent. She tried to take you to the best schools with those peanuts. She fed you. She put a roof, electricity. But you are doing this. You are actually the opposite of what she expected. But the thing is, Samora, I was a functioning alcoholic. Going to work, going to set, doing this, doing that. You know, I was functioning. But inside, I felt that I have completely lost myself. I have changed to a point where I started hiding the alcohol. I found a way to bring it in my room through a window.
Is this at your mom's house?
At my mom's house.
Okay.
Put it, and I'd call, go buy me this, or I drive in, I've bought, you know, the favorite drink, the black one, Champions.
No, you can go ahead and mention it.
Yeah, alcohol, black label.
Yes.
It was that bad.
Yeah.
Because it was the cheapest.
Okay.
You know, creatives love it.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like it does fit into our environment. But for me, it became that, you are urumangwana. To take it from the car, put it in the window, you just drink. You are just like intoxicated on a Monday, to a point where my mom would walk in my room. It's not a big room. It's literally like a bit tiny, you know, and she'd be like, it smells like alcohol in here. I would be so defensive.
Of course.
Oh, too defensive. And I'd be like, no, you're judging me. But I know internally that I'm very guilty. And she'd be like, where did you take the money? Like, you were crying to me, you don't have petrol, blah, blah, blah. You know, how did you even bring it into my house? I didn't see it coming from my kitchen. And
where would you get the money?
I would take it from people.
Okay.
Without them knowing. And I would ask with the intention that I need help to buy this, you know. And I was like at that age, you know. And it was
so a lot of manipulation.
Yeah.
In order to get your high.
To get it, you know. But funny enough, now, I know we'll get to the I am sober. Those same people, I can go to them and I'd be like, I am struggling. I need petrol money. And they would give me from the heart. And it feels good now because I know that I'm going to
where you say you're going.
You know, sometimes medical aid doesn't pay, like, my pills are like 3,000. Medical aid will pay a certain percentage. Maybe I need a 500 to put on. And I wouldn't want to burden my mom because she's probably helped me. You know, the freelance work sometimes is difficult. She probably would have helped me with petrol there and then. Now, in this present moment, I'd ask and be like, I need to go fill the petrol. I need to add on my medication. And I would be happy. I'd be internally proud of myself because I know I'm doing it. I'm using the money for what I said I'm going to use it for.
Darkest point in your drinking?
Not getting drunk anymore.
No, what was your darkest point when you were drinking?
Oh, Samora. The darkest point, I know some people experience darkest points of passing out, finding themselves, killing, stabbing, fighting, bleeding, and all of that thing. For me, my darkest point was one of the fights that changed my life.
Mm-hmm.
A fight that happened between me and my sister.
Mm.
It was a breaking point. I realized that if she sees something I'm hiding, the drinking from the window, walking in, and she said the most hurtful thing I've never thought I would hear.
Mm-hmm.
We were fighting. She walked in. I was like talking to my nephew, and my mom was like, mothers would be like, awufundi, spanking yana. And I was like, bushokwa, because I love my nephews. I want the best for them. And she thought I was beating up the son.
Okay.
It got very tense. She even hit me with the plastic chair. Imagine a plastic chair breaking. It was broken.
Like as in the chair that you would find at like
those the baby's one.
Okay.
Even though it might feel like, it was a baby's chair, but it hit me.
Yeah.
That's what hurt me. That she was able to act upon something she didn't know or understand.
So what did she say in that time?
She was like, Olitawa. It was, there's a difference between sugarcoating us who, like, the Model C kids. We could say you were an alcoholic or you were addicted. It sounds polished. It sounds like you are okay with it because it's the language that's used in. It's taking away your dignity. It showed me, it put me in a space where I recognized that my drinking wasn't only distractive for me, but for somebody who I grew up with. Even though in that space where she was hurt, she was assuming that I beat up Bushokwa, my nephew, but it was not the case. For her to use that word, I knew I had to change.
Yeah, proper wake-up call. That one. We are running out of time, but I want us to get to the sobriety part. You are now almost a year sober, and the day you decided, how did that come about?
We went to my niece's party.
Okay.
Nikile Moreki. That day, Nikile Moreki bought, how do you call it? Some whiskey.
Okay. 2
or 3 bottles. One was 600 and something. So that's 6, 12, 18, 1,008.
Was this, what type of whiskey was this?
Kgwale.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't even know the word because I don't drink it. But I bought it for other people. I filled the cooler box to make sure that we are all staying in this party. We are all getting drunk. We drank. That day, I was drinking a drink that I didn't even know. Got home, sick to a point where I thought I was dying. That night, I realized that this can't be life. I can't constantly be sick, throwing up, my ulcers. I was drinking even though I knew I've got medical issues. That day, I was like, I am not doing this anymore. I can't be this person who is even feeding so that other people can be addicts.
Yes.
Giving alcohol, giving alcohol, making sure I buy alcohol for other people so that they are in the same wavelength as me. That night, Samora, I asked God in that bathroom while I was throwing up, and I was like, God, change me.
Was it a conversation that you had been having with yourself before, or did it just come to you that day?
It just came. Okay. It was like a flash in my eyes. It was like a revelation.
And then what things did you put in place in order for you to be able to maintain your sobriety? Because a lot of people struggle with the maintaining of the sobriety. I come across a whole lot of people who are like, I need you to be my accountability partner. I need you to be my Mr. Miyagi to my Daniel-san, because I do the sobriety thing for a week and a half or 2 weeks, and then next thing weekend, and it's a payday and all the stresses of life. So what things did you put into place in order for you to remain sober for as long as you have?
Funny enough, I created a relationship with another lady who's in my industry. Really appreciate Mbali so much. She introduced me to an online AA.
Okay.
Because I was so scared to go to a physical face-to-face AA. You know, I would get...
Sorry, it's so weird that sometimes we care so much about our image and what people think of us more than the fact that this thing that we are going to is going to save our lives.
Yes.
Anyway.
I was so ashamed. I told my wife that, babe, I am done.
Now when you were there, you let this behavior. You were letting this behavior go.
She
said she tried.
She tried. Let me tell you, I would come from work, 12 pack. I'm like, baby, we are drinking today. She'd be like, I don't want to drink. I'll be like, we are drinking. You know? So I did the online AA. Samora used to wake up at 5 a.m. I was so dedicated.
Yeah.
5 a.m. bath, or just I was even focusing on weight loss, like drink a cup of coffee with lemon, eat my muesli at 5. And then I know 6 o'clock, I'm online. I make sure my phone is charged. I close the doors. I don't make noise for her. Got into it. An hour full. I was like, I am committed to this. Met amazing people. Heard different stories. Life-changing stories. Other people were sober for 10 years. And they were still in that AA online meeting.
I once went to an AA meeting with a friend of mine, Will Swank, and they were celebrating someone who had been sober for 49 years and was still attending AA. And that's where you get to see what it's not a once-off thing. It's not just a wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. That you really need to commit to the journey and really need to commit to yourself and becoming a better version of yourself.
Let me tell you what saved me, in all honesty.
Yes.
It's my sister's kids, man. Like, I could cry about those kids. I do not want them to make the same mistakes I made.
Yeah.
I will work hard. I will sweat for those kids to have a better perspective when they're older. Even though the older ones now are starting certain things, but I hold them, I remind them, even though I don't say face to face where people witness, I'd call, be like, that thing, no. This is the vision. And my mom saved me. She held me accountable. She would ask me when I walk in, when I came to visit, and I've never told anyone about this. It just stayed between me and her. She'd be like, or she would make remarks at, she'd be like, I'd be like, no. It was early stages, And this woman, Mudimu, God blessed me, reminded me that I have potential to be whatever I want to be. Somebody who holds your hand, walks this journey. Samora, I've done amazing things since I was sober. Before, but now when I'm sober, I am living those things. I wrote a children's book about mental health. A book. I was shocked that I could put words to have a self-published book that I'm selling. We started something, a production company where we can get our own clients. We can push. We can have relationships with clients. We did that. I did that, and it's amazing.
Well, when's the party?
People need to, but my family, they have to buy me cake. I want cake that is written 1 year sober. I wanted. Now I'm telling
What's the
them
date, Kanchi?
the 23rd, and it
23rd
happens
of
to be
March.
my sister, my favorite. That woman brings so much joy. Like, she is the
We are
woman.
out of time, sister.
Oh, yeah. So, I want a cake.
You said,
and
what's the date? The 23rd
The
of March.
23rd of March.
All right. You guys remember the 23rd of March, Rephethile is celebrating 1 year sober. I'll be celebrating a year sober probably a week or two after you. I'll need to go back and actually check the date, but I know it's beginning of April sometime. Thank you so much for coming here. Thank you so much for sharing your story. And thank you so much for allowing us into your life. I think the more we speak about these kind of journeys, the more we speak about these kind of stories, the more we tap into the reasoning behind Abantu deciding to leave alcohol behind, will enable others to see themselves in those stories and enable them to be able to see better versions of themselves as well.
Thank you so much for creating this platform, Samora. Like, I was told about you.
Yeah.
And I followed you, and I was like, even after the Metro FM interview, and I saw some of your, your episodes, you are doing amazing.
Thank you so much.
The work you are doing doesn't go unnoticed.
Yeah.
So let us march on this journey.
Absolutely.
And I believe, and I hope people believe, that we are sober and we are living in our truth.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for this platform.
And of course, if you also feel the exact same way, be sure to share this episode with someone that you think would benefit from it. Comment, like, subscribe, and of course, click on that notification bell so that you're notified every single time we upload a brand new episode on Wednesdays at 3:30. The merchandise is available. Please go out there. 064 771 441 is the number to dial. This is how you support this platform and make sure that it stays alive. Thank you so much. I'll see you at the next one. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Isa now.
Bye. And it was just becoming a disaster because every second when I see money coming in, that's me in the bottle store, And I got to a point where I used to buy alcohol for people. Like excessive money going in to ensure that people are happy, people are having a job, and it made me realize when my wife was like, hey, Bo, they're using you. I want to be clear-headed. I want to be on medication properly. I want to function like a normal person, wake up on a Saturday and feel excited to face the world,